What is up, YouTube? Bitch Boy Millsy, my hometown commander, back for another episode of $50 Upgrades, the show where I upgrade the Precon in question on my quest to brew the Magic world. The deck list with the ads is going to be down in the description below, as well as I would appreciate you interacting with the video in any way, like, commenting, and subscribing. Today we are going to finish our Modern Horizons 3 Precons of upgrades. We're going to talk about the Eldrazi Incursion Precon, headed up by Ulalek Fused Atrocity, a 5-mana plus colorless Eldrazi deck. And Ulalek, whenever you cast an Atrocity spell, you can pay double colorless. If you do, copy all spells you control, then copy all of their activated and triggered abilities you control, and you may choose new targets for the copies. I think the biggest disclaimer I need to talk about when I talk about upgrading this deck is there are a lot of Eldrazi that are above our $50 threshold, which means obviously we did not include them. I wanted to do my best to stick to this $50 threshold because I knew that prices can change and fluctuate, and there are a lot of new cards from the new set. Emrakul and Ulamog are both above $50 at the time of this recording, meaning they're not in the list either. So basically what this came down to is pick one very good card from the new set that cares about Eldrazi and fill out the rest. And that's what I chose to do. So I hope you enjoy my upgrade. We've got, I believe, 13 cards to pull into the deck, so let's go through them. Starting off with Abstruse Appropriation, a removal spell from the new set. You can exile target non-land permanent. We can cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you can spend colorless mana as though we're a mana of any color to cast that spell. I like this removal spell a lot because it can hit a lot of really important things. If you're playing with a higher powered playgroup, Tithe, this Versatile Studies, things like that. This can also hit, just a lot of important things. Hit your opponent's combo pieces, hit a good value artifact, something like that. I mean, there's a lot of things that can hit, and I think it's well worth it. Abstruse Archaic is a fun creature from the Ulalek Precon. We can pay one and tap it to copy target activated or triggered ability you control from a colorless source. It's a very good ability. A lot of our Eldrazi have abilities, and remember that all the new Devoid Eldrazi, like that of Abstruse Appropriation to the left, have colored mana that you're paying to cast them, but are not colored creatures, meaning that Abstruse can copy those abilities. Calamity the Titan, also from that Ulalek Precon. 6-mana sorcery, addition to cast this spell, reveal a colorless creature from your hand, exile each creature and Planeswalker with mana value less than that revealed creature's mana value. This can vary a lot with how effective it is depending on what you reveal, but if you've got a lot of big Eldrazi sitting around, this can exile their entire, our opponent's entire boards with non-land permanents and or creature and Planeswalkers and go a big way as far as being a great board wipe for us. Well, the card that I chose to really in all reality put a lion's share of the budget into, and at the moment it was sitting about $40 and I recorded this episode, is Echoes of Eternity. The reason is because I think this card is absolutely bonkers. It's well worth to put in the deck, and I think it's probably just going to go up, I'm sure, at some point. But it's a 6-mana enchantment that says if a triggered ability of a colorless spell you control or another colorless permanent you control triggers, it triggers an additional time. So this is a kind of a Virtue of Knowledge / Panharmonicon type effect, but it also, whenever you cast colorless spell, you just copy it and you choose targets for the copy. I think this card is gross. It's going to continue to be gross. All these Eldrazi decks are going to really take advantage of this card, and I think it's well worth the $40 price tag put in the deck. Yes, you gotta find it, but I think the games where you find it, it's just going to be brutal. This card's going to cause so much headaches and so much fun, but it's what's going to make your deck better. Rather than adding one individual Titan, I think this is a great spot for that money and making sure that we get it and get it ready to go. I know the False Gods can tap for 2 to make an Eldrazi spawn. Whenever an Eldrazi dies, you put a counter on it, and then when it has 8 or more counters on it, it becomes a creature with an Annihilator 2. Great ability, and it's going to ramp us every turn if we need it. Otherwise, it's just going to become an Eldrazi in the end. It heralds the end. Color spells you cast with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less to cast, and other creatures get +1/+1. A way to reduce all of our spells just by that little bit, give our creatures a little bit of buff, and make sure that we can cast our big Eldrazi for a little bit cheaper. Kozilek's Unsealing. Whenever we cast creature sort of creature spell with mana value 4, 5, or 6, we make 2 scions or spawns. That's great because then that means that we can get more mana later out of them. And then whenever we cast creature spell with mana value 7 or greater, we draw 3 cards. Great way to refill our hand, keep our deck going. Path of Annihilation is one of the newer cards for the style of deck that I really like. When it comes in, you get 2 spawns, which can sack that colorless mana. All the Eldrazi you have now gain add one to mana of any color, tap. What I like about this is those spawns, unless they have haste, can't do that. But now every spawn in Scion you have laying around and all your other Eldrazi can tap for mana, and just make sure you're consistently getting out more and more things. And whenever you cast a creature spell mana value 7 or greater, you get to gain 4 life. Skittering Cicada from that Ulalek Precon. We can cast color spells as though they had flash, which is every card in our deck, because the ones that are colored mana have Devoid. And then when you cast color spell, until turn, it gets +X and trample, where X is that spell's mana value, making Cicada a big attacker for our opponents. Sowing Micah Spawn for the main set makes a ton of sense, because on cast it ramps, getting your land card and putting it on the battlefield. This can then be doubled with Ulalek, and then if we kick it, we get to exile a land that one of our opponents controls, which is pretty great. Thran Dynamo for just a little bit more ramp. Pay 4 mana into it, and we get 3 colorless mana every turn. Worn Power Stone, 3 mana into it, and we get 2 mana every turn. And then Zulodok, the commander of that Commander Masters deck, feels really great here since we have a lot of big Eldrazi, giving them double Cascade. I know that's not a lot of cards, but the problem is there's a lot of Eldrazi cards that have a really high price tag, and I probably could have not done the Echoes and done a lot more, but I thought the Echoes was really important. So these are the cards I chose to cut. I'm not saying these are the 13 worst cards in the deck or anything like that. These were just the 13 I chose to cut in order to make spots for the ones that I added. My hope is that with this video, it just gives you some ideas for maybe how to tune your Precon, how to approach your deck building maybe in the future or change the deck. And I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments section below, as well as the full deck list with my ads is going to be in the description as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.